Hello, and welcome to the City of Calgary's webinar on licensing essentials for your home-based food business. On the top right, there are a few icons. The icon with the question mark is our Q&A. Throughout the webinar, you can post questions here, and we will have time to answer some audience questions at the end of the presentation. The next icon is a cog, where you can change display settings and add subtitles and change language settings. Subtitles are available for Simplified Chinese, Hindi, Filipino, French, Spanish, and Urdu. These settings may not be available on mobile devices. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available to the public at the end of the session. Questions can be submitted anonymously. I'm your host, Kathleen Smiley, and now I would like to introduce to you our panel of experts. Joining us today are Beverly Grayson, Planning Services Technician, and Sherry Bork, Business Approvals Lead. Welcome, everyone. In today's webinar, we're going to discuss insights on what you need to know to apply for your business license, the various types of licenses, permit information, how to apply and submit a complete application, the approvals processes, and more. We're going to get started by introducing our panel of experts.
Thanks, Kathleen. My name is Sherry Burke. I am the Business Approvals Lead. I have been with the city now for almost 29 years, and in my current position for just over 10 years. In today's session, I'll be speaking directly to the business licensing aspect of home-based businesses. Now over to Beverly.
Thank you. My name is Beverly Grayson. I have worked with the city in this role of planning service technicians for almost 3 years. Before that, I worked with another municipality for 11 years. And today I will be talking about mostly land use approval, a few other things.
Great. So Sherry, I'm thinking about starting a small cake decorating business from my home. And a question I'm on my mind is, do I need to get a license?
Well, that is an exciting venture, Kathleen. Yes, all food-based businesses will need to have a business license. Home-based businesses will also need to obtain location approvals and may need Alberta Health Services approval as part of the business license process. In addition to your cake decorating business, some other examples of home-based food businesses that would also require a license include baking, catering, cooking services, fresh fruit and vegetable sales, chocolate and/or candy making, and preparing or portioning meals. You can learn more about the requirements at calgary.ca/home-based food business. You can also check out the link in the chat.
Great, thank you, Sherry. So is getting a business license the same as registering my business?
Not quite. While some businesses require a business license, some may not. That said, we do encourage all businesses to register with the City of Calgary, even if your business is a license not required business. Some businesses, like accountants or engineers, don't need a business license because they are governed by another organization. Even so, you will still need location approval. Ensuring the proper approvals for your business location will make sure your space is good to go for your business and safe for everyone who steps inside. We'll dive a little deeper into location approval details later in today's webinar. Since home-based food businesses require a license, your business will automatically be registered at the same time as when you apply for your license.
Thank you for that clarification. So I needed a license for my cake decorating business. What else is required when I'm preparing to start my business?
That's a great question, Kathleen. Your business activities will determine what's required to open your business, including what license type you need and what permits your business may need. For example, if you're preparing meals, baking cakes, cookies, pastries, cooking food to cater for an event all at home, you'll need a food service premises license. Likewise, if you're using a portion of your home as an office and cooking in a licensed commercial kitchen, you'll also need that same food service premises license. Premises means that the business activities are happening from a specific location.
So it sounds like anything food related needs this food service premises license. What if I want to sell cooking paraphernalia like spatulas, spoons, and bakeware?
If that's something that you are interested in, you'll also need a retail dealer premises license. It's important to note that when we talk about food-based businesses here, this is only food consumable by humans. So if you're baking treats for pets, that would also fall under the retail license type.
Okay, interesting. Would I have to apply for those separately?
No, any required license types will be generated when you apply for your license. Additionally, if your business fits into more than one license type, you do not need to get multiple approvals. So for example, you only need one location approval, even though it's required by all your different license types. Before you get started, it's important to review the license and permit requirements and familiarize yourself with the application process and fees associated with starting a business in Calgary.
Great, thanks, Sherry. So now that I know more about what different license types are needed, you mentioned before that all businesses need location approval. What is that, and how do I go about receiving location approval for my home to be used as a business location?
Okay, excuse me, I can answer that one. So, excuse me, all businesses operating within the city of Calgary will need location approval to confirm that the space they are using is located appropriately and safely for anyone using the space. For home-based businesses, we usually look at a couple of different requirements. To start, either a home occupation class 1 or class 2 approval will be needed as part of the process. The type of home occupation approval you will need depends on the business activities that will be taking place at your home. The intensity and impact of those activities on the community and nearby neighbors will also be considered. So let's start with home occupation class 1 approval. For this home-based business, you will have little or no impact on the surrounding community. So the rules for class 1 are specific, and they include, so for example, a maximum of 3 business associated visits per week, which includes but not is limited to drop-offs, pickups, and or visits from customers. An accessory residential building like a garage, for example, cannot be used for business activities but may be used for some storage. No vehicles over 4,536 kilograms, which is about 10,000 pounds of gross vehicle weight associated with the business can be parked or stored at the house. So a trailer or a food truck, for example, cannot stay there. If you meet the rules for home occupation class 1, this approval has no fees and will automatically be granted when you apply for your business license. You can visit calgary.ca/home-based food business for more information about the general rules for a home occupation class 1.
Good to know, Beverly. After hearing that information, the home business I have in mind might not qualify for a home occupation class 1. Do I have another option?
There is. So if your business does not meet the home occupation class 1 rules, then you can apply for a home occupation class 2 development permit. You can apply for a development permit at the same time before or after you apply for a business license. For some home-based food businesses, you might want or need to build a second kitchen in your home. You may want to consider applying for a home occupation class 2 development permit before applying for your license or your building permit to ensure that you can secure your land use approval. An application for a class 2 development permit does not guarantee approval and can take up to 10 weeks, so about 2.5 months for a decision to be made.
Wow, that seems like a long time. It's obviously not just a simple yes or no. Can you explain the timeline for a home occupation class 2?
You bet. So after the application has been submitted, the permit gets placed into a queue with the other applications to be reviewed for completeness. It's important that you follow all the requirements listed in the complete applications requirement list, which is CARL or CARL for short, to submit a complete application. So a link has been posted for you in the chat. If you've submitted all the requirements, your application will proceed and be assigned to a file manager for review. Your home occupation class 2 are more intensive on the neighbors and the community. So we circulate these applications for comment. This takes a couple of weeks to get the comments back, at which point the file manager will decide to support your application or not. They may return to you to negotiate what you've requested in your application, such as the number of visits to your house, before deciding. Once the decision has been made on the home occupation class 2, it goes into advertisement, which takes another 3 weeks to complete. After that's done, there are no appeals to the file manager. The application is approved, and then the development permit is released to you.
Wow, that's a lot more intense than I thought. So what will class 2 allow?
A home occupation class 2 is approved at the discretion of the file manager, and the specifics will be listed in your conditions of approval. So you'll need to make sure that you review those carefully. So in general, a class 2 will go above and beyond what a home occupation class 1 may allow, such as you can have up to 5 business associated visits to the home per day to a maximum of 15 per week. An accessory residential building like a garage can be used for business, provided that it can still be used to park a vehicle. 1 commercial vehicle to the maximum weight of 4,500 kilograms can be on the business property. Maybe you might have 1 non-resident employee, but most importantly for your business, since it's food related, you'll need the class 2 to build a separate kitchen in your home. Let's see. To outline a couple of comparisons between home occupation classes, let's go through a few scenarios. Example. You'll be doing paperwork in your home office and cooking from a licensed commercial kitchen. So that is a home occupation class 1. Another example, you will be preparing food for your home, and the food you are preparing meets the government the government of Alberta's criteria for low risk home prepared foods. Again, that's home occupation class 1. You will be preparing food from your home from a second commercial grade kitchen within your home. And so obviously because of the second kitchen, a home occupation class 2. Another example, you will be preparing food from your home, and the food you are preparing meets the low risk home prepared food guide from the Alberta government, but you don't meet the rules for the home occupation class 1. And the answer, of course, a home occupation class 2. And the final example, you'll be having more than 3 visits weekly to your home to pick up food from your home, and again, home occupation class 2. So if you're unsure if you qualify for home occupation 1 or 2, our Planning Service Center can help you determine what is required for your home. You can contact us during our regular business hours by phone. You can visit us on the 3rd floor of the municipal building downtown. You can also chat with us online using live chat. And there's a link, I believe, in the chat.
Great, thank you so much, Beverly. So can you tell me a bit more about how much these home occupation licenses will cost?
Yeah, good question. So the permit fee for a home occupation class 1 is $0, free. However, if you're applying for a home occupation class 2, the permit fee is $449 plus $32 for the advertising fee for a grand total of $481. So note that your class 2 may be granted for, well, typically the first application is granted for 18 months and then 2 years. And then if you renew again, 5 years after that. The class 1 never expires unless you move.
Great, thanks, Beverly. Are there any other approvals I need to receive my business license?
So there are other approvals, and they're dependent on your business activities. For home-based food businesses, you will always need the location approval, and you may need building safety approval and Alberta Health Services approval before a license can be issued. It really depends on how your business will be operating, so let's quickly review those at a high level. The next slide will show one of those approvals is Alberta Health Services. It's important to note that you should contact Alberta Health Services prior to making any applications with the city for your home-based food business. Alberta's food regulations allows Albertans to make low-risk foods in their home kitchen for sale to the public, and it sets the rules for safe food handling. Low-risk home-prepared foods can be sold from home, special events, and farmers markets where they were sold previously. More information about low-risk home-prepared food can be found on the Government of Alberta website. A couple of links will be posted in the chat for you. And then depending on the business activity, you will need to complete a permit application with Alberta Health Services, and the health inspector will contact you to arrange an on-site inspection. If you're using an approved commercial kitchen to prepare your food and your home will not be used for cooking, your health inspection will be completed at the commercial kitchen location. Once the health inspection is complete, results must be shared with the city. For more information on Alberta Health Services approvals, please contact them directly at 1-833-476-4743.
Thanks, Sherry. So you mentioned before something about building a safety approval. Is that a building permit, and when would I need one of those?
Yes, that's right, Kathleen. If you're constructing that second kitchen in your home, you'll need to get some additional permits, including a building permit. Constructing a second kitchen in your residence for your business requires a home occupation class 2 or the development permit. It requires a commercial building permit and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning or HVAC permit. Also, depending on the scope of the work, you may need additional trade permits such as electrical and plumbing permits. We suggest speaking with Alberta Health Services about your business to find out if the type of food that you will be preparing will require a second kitchen to be built, or if you're okay using your existing kitchen. And we have a link in the chat as well. So let's say, for example, that you're a baker and the AHS or Alberta Health Services had determined that you'll need to build a second kitchen in your home. Since the space you've selected for the second kitchen will require alterations to operate and meet any health and safety requirements, you'll need to apply for a building permit. You'll probably also be making some changes to the electrical and plumbing systems, which will both require separate trade permits. For many second kitchens, you will need an HVAC permit as well. The relevant safety codes establish the minimum standard for building safety, such as fire protection, structural integrity, heating and ventilation, plumbing, and other safety measures. If you're a homeowner and live in the home, you may be eligible to pull your own electrical and plumbing permits. You can check out the link in the chat for more information about homeowner trade permits. If you are hiring a contractor to do the work, and for HVAC permits, these must be applied for by a qualified contractor. We recommend contacting the Planning Services Center to understand the requirements in advance of applying for your business license. And here we have a link in the chat as well.
So I guess this is as good a time as any to ask what the costs are to apply for my business license.
Of course. For home-based businesses, you're looking at a license fee of $172 for a new license. You'll also need your home occupation permit, either the home occupation class 1, which has no cost, or a home occupation class 2, which will cost $481. There could be additional fees associated with getting your business off the ground and running, including construction costs if you need to renovate a part of your home to accommodate a commercial kitchen. Costs from Alberta Health Services for the inspection and food handling permits, and any additional costs that could include building permit fees.
Awesome, thanks, Sherry. I feel ready to start my application, but first, how long am I looking at to get my license?
The timelines to process your business application can vary significantly depending on the permits and approvals that are required for your business. So we talked about how a home occupation class 1 is approved right away, whereas a home occupation class 2 takes up to 10 weeks. And then with a building permit needed at the same time or after that, it would be at least a couple of months for the business for a business that needs those types of permits. So planning ahead is really important. We recommend that if you are planning to put in a second kitchen, that you start the home occupation class 2 application even before you apply for your license. After you apply for your business license and before we can issue it, all outstanding approvals must be completed. This includes making sure that all your permits have been completed and your Alberta Health Services requirements have been met. Ensure that you submit a complete application and follow up on any outstanding requirements promptly. that will help you move through the review and the approval process faster. The timelines for approval requirements are, location approval for the home occupation class 1 is approved upon review of your application. Location approval for your home occupation class 2 takes 8 to 10 weeks, as we said, and also note that there's no guarantee for approval for the home occupation class 2. Building safety approvals split up between permitting and inspections. So getting approved for a building permit varies depending on volume and complexity for a commercial permit and usually is around 21 days. Once the building permit has been issued, you should also factor in time to complete the construction. Trade permits take 1 to 2 days to issue. You can book inspections up to 10 business days in advance of the inspection. And in terms of other approvals, you will want to contact AHS for approximate timelines, as they also might influence your application.
Good to know. So is there anything I can do to speed up the application process?
Of course, there's some things to consider when you're thinking about applying for a business. So you want to consider what your business activities are, and that's what will the business be doing. You want to look at the location of the business. So where are you going to be primarily located? Your ownership. So who is going to own this business? Is it going to be yourself as a sole proprietor? Is it a partnership or a corporation? So a corporation is a legal entity that is registered with the provincial or federal registry and is different to registering with the City of Calgary. You want to note your trade name for the business, which is generally different from your corporation or your ownership. The contact information for the business and the owner. And additionally, online applications will need a MyID account. When it comes to the different approvals that you need for your license, we recommend that you confirm the requirements needed to operate from your home. Is the type of business allowed to operate from your home? What type of permits will you need as a part of your location approval? Will you need a home occupation class 1 or a class 2? Does the space require any upgrades to comply with building and fire codes? Are you doing construction yourself or are you hiring a contractor? Do you need to apply for a building permit as part of your land use approval? Do you need approval from the property owner before making changes to the space? You want to make sure that you hire appropriate contractors for the project. So you want to check if your contractors are licensed. And can your contractors pull the right trade permits to work on your business? Can you change the slide, please? So after you apply for your license, make sure you have completed your required approvals. For home-based food businesses, this is your Alberta Health Services approval and your location approval. If you choose to apply for your home occupation class 2 or building permit separately from your license application, you'll need to make a separate business license application. So you want to submit all required documents as soon as you have prepared the permit requirements. If your business needs a development and building permit, submit the development permit first and wait for a decision before you submit the building permit. Make sure you submit all the requirements when making your application.
Great, thanks, Sherry. So before we move on to how to apply for a license, I'm wondering if my license will ever expire.
That is a great question, Kathleen. A business license expires 1 year from the date the license was issued to you. You will get an invoice in the mail 45 days prior to the expiry, so you have time to renew. You can renew your business license online at apply.calgary.ca, in person, over the phone, or by mail. Coming this summer in 2024, we will be changing the method for invoicing and payment. If you've registered online with a MyID account, you'll receive your invoice via email. And if you have questions about expiries or renewals, contact your business license file manager or the Planning Services Center if you do not have a file manager yet associated with your business license. Something important to note with home occupation businesses is that your home occupation approval may also need to be renewed. Home occupation class 2 development permits have an expiry date as they are only temporary approvals. These temporary approvals are reviewed at the time of reapplication to ensure that the business has not had any significant changes and is operating in the way that was intended. The expiry for home occupation Class 2s will vary, and you'll need to refer to your permit's conditions of approval for the expiration date. For example, your first home occupation Class 2 permit may have been approved for 18 months. After reapplication, your approval may be granted for up to 3 years or up to 5 years if the operation complies with the rules of the land use bylaw. We strongly urge that you apply for the renewal permit before the expiry of your current home occupation Class 2 permit so that there is no gap for your operations. More information can be found in the location approval section on the home-based food business license page. This link is in the chat for you. As an incentive of renewing your home occupation permit before the expiry is that the fees are discounted by 50%, but you must renew between 30 to 90 days prior to the expiry of the existing home occupation Class 2.
Great. I think I have everything I need to apply for my license. What are my options for applying?
You do have a few options. I would recommend that you apply for your business license online at apply.calgary.ca. This way you can make the application from anywhere, either from your home, on the bus, wherever you're ready to make the application. And this link will be posted in the chat for you. If you prefer to do things in person, the Planning Services Center on the 3rd floor of the municipal building at 800 McLeod Trail Southeast. As always, if you have any questions or run into any issues while submitting your application online, you can contact the Planning Services Center via live chat at calgary.ca/live chat or by phone at 403-268-5311.
That's very important to know. Thank you. So what if I just have a home occupation Class 1?
For a home occupation Class 1, you would not need to renew as they do not expire if the business still operates from there. It only expires if you move.
Okay, perfect. So before we wrap up, are there any resources that the city provides to businesses to help me set up my webpage and social media plan?
Yes, we do. The City of Calgary offers a program which can support your online presence. The Digital Service Squad was created to help you make that great web page or social media plan and make it easier for potential customers to find you online. The Digital Service Squad program can help you with many things, including social media strategy, building a basic website, Google My Business setup support, search engine optimization, setting up a point-of-sale solution, creating a customer database, and streamlining business processes with digital tools. To be eligible for the program, you must be located in Calgary and registered in Alberta. 0 to 49 employees can include self-employed business owners with no employees and be a home-based or commercial business. For more information, you can visit calgary.ca/DSS. If this is something that interests you, register for the program at digitalmainstreet.ca, and both links will be posted in the chat.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our presenters. That concludes our presentation portion of today's webinar. So we're going to open it up to some frequently asked questions. All right, so what are the requirements and processes for obtaining AHS approval for low-risk home-based food businesses in Calgary, such as baking cookies, donuts, and cakes?
So any requirements that Alberta Health Services requires from you to obtain approval, you would really need to get in contact with Alberta Health Services, as they are the ones that regulate that. Once you have received that approval, whether it is in the form of the inspection report, or they have said that based on your activities you do not require an inspection, we require that information in writing from Alberta Health Services. They generally will send you an email that you can forward on to your file manager to update your file.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Sherry. Okay, next question. What are some examples of low-risk foods?
A couple of examples of low-risk foods are baking cakes, cookies, prepackaged
Muffins.
foods, muffins, that type of thing. Again, those are Alberta Health Services requirements, and you would need to get in contact with Alberta Health Services to get a comprehensive list of what they determine as low risk.
Okay, perfect. Great. We've got a home occupation question here. So how do I know if what I'm cooking requires a home occupation class 1 or class 2?
With the home occupation class 1, that is generally for a low impact to the community type of business. So less visits to the home per week. If you're cooking in your own kitchen for class 2, that would be generally if Alberta Health Services has determined that you're cooking a higher risk type of food and you need to build a commercial kitchen, or you have more visits, more couriers, clients coming to the home during the week. When you go through the application process and go through the questions on the home occupation class 1, it will determine whether or not it fits within those rules or whether you will require a class 2.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Sherry. So what business activities require a separate or commercial kitchen?
Again, that would be more intensive type cooking activities, and that would be determined by Alberta Health Services whether it needs to be cooked within a commercial kitchen or not.
Okay, perfect. All right. Next question. Is there a difference in the process for getting my home-based food business up and running if I am only intending to sell out of farmers markets or to grocery stores?
No, the process would be the same for either.
Okay, perfect. What are the costs to building a commercial kitchen at my home?
I'll let Beverly take that one on.
Well, so the cost of equipment is varied. I can't really give you a number, for example. Yeah, that would be something that would be in your building permit, what kind of equipment you need based on the AHS requirements.
Okay, good to know. I'm getting the sense that it might be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
All right, next question. So, can I rent an apartment to use solely as a commercial kitchen?
I would discourage that. Again, commercial kitchens are determined by Alberta Health Services, and most home-based kitchens are not set up for commercial uses. There are businesses in the city of Calgary that are set up for commercial kitchens that do rent out to business owners to use for just their cooking.
And again, home-based businesses, you have to live at the space that you're using.
Okay, perfect. What are the requirements if I'm only delivering food to customers?
You would still require that food service premise for your home. And if you're cooking the food at a commercial kitchen, then it would be the Alberta Health Services requirement would be, or their inspection would be done at that commercial kitchen, but your home would be for your desk and your paperwork. And then the delivery is included within that business license.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. How can I check to see if a business has already been licensed?
There are a few resources online. On calgary.ca, we do have a business map. However, with home-based businesses, we do not publish addresses. So it would just be a basic whether or not that business is licensed, or you can contact our planning service center at 268-5311, and they can take a look and let you know whether or not the business is licensed.
Okay, awesome. Are there consequences for operating without a license?
There are, if you are operating without a business license, we do have an enforcement team that reviews businesses that are operating and ensures they are properly licensed. If you are caught operating without a business license, you can be fined within our business license bylaw. And I believe the first offense is about $1,000 up to, I couldn't even tell you how much it would go up to, and there would be court appearances and charges laid. So there may be enforcement action along with that if you are caught operating without a license.
Okay, good to know. Back to the Digital Service Squad. Is there a fee to join the program?
No, there is no fee to join the program.
Okay, good to know. All right, last couple questions here. Are there additional requirements needed for hosting cooking classes?
If you're going to be hosting cooking classes and teaching people how to cook, you may need a business license for a school. And I would suggest that you get in contact with or look on calgary.ca or get in contact with the Planning Service Center to determine whether or not you would need that type of business license.
Okay, and let's go through our last question. Again, are there any additional requirements needed for installing vending machines?
So if you're just installing vending machines and you're replenishing the vending machines, what you would require is a distribution manager business license. And it would be based again out of your home or wherever your business location is. And it would include the installation and distribution of the food products that you're putting in these vending machines. So it would be only one business license that you would require for however many vending machines that you have. And then, of course, you would need to look at the places that you're going to be installing these vending machines and make sure that you have approval from those businesses or property owners to install those machines there.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Sherry. All right, so that we're going to wrap up our Q&A here. Thank you everyone for participating in the city's webinar on licensing essentials for your home-based food business. I have posted a slide with our phone number and website for more information. If you have questions, you can contact us by phone at 403-268-5311. Visit us on the 3rd floor of the municipal building, or you can chat with us online. A link to this recording will be available on calgary.ca/webinars, and you can rewatch the webinar by clicking in the same link provided in your Eventbrite ticket. I'm also going to share the link to our post-event survey in the chat. Please take a few minutes to let us know how we did this afternoon and what other topics you'd like to know more about. Thank you all and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.